I wanted to play Apex in the way Respawn had intended. From new maps to a whole host of new legends, guns, and other mechanics, Apex Legends today is basically a different game than when it was released in February of 2019. Now, Respawn actually brought back the OG build of Apex from early 2019, and the first thing I wanted to check out was...
Do it.
It does not stick. It does not stick anymore. For those who weren't around at the time, there used to be a bug where you could create a super weapon using Gibraltar's arm shield.
Oh, perfect. Oh my god.
One thing I nearly forgot about with early Apex was the loot, or rather, the lack of it.
I don't have jack. I don't have heals. I don't have armor.
Finding anything useful felt like winning the lottery because you didn't start with shields or heals, and the guns were tough to come by, which led to some pretty fast time to kill. Oh my god. No armor. It really felt like the original Apex was truly from a different era of FPS gaming. I painfully came to the conclusion that I had to adjust how I played for this experiment. And it was interesting seeing how Respawn had originally intended the game to be. You see, right around the time of release, VRs were the up-and-coming popular FPS genre. I think Apex modeled its pacing a lot after PUBG back then, which was a slower game with lower time to kill. And I think people back then actually cared about living, and also weren't as good. So they played way slower by taking their time to land further out, gather resources before taking the first fight. However, this is pretty different from the Apex of today, where a lot of the fun is in the faster pacing and the aggressive playstyle. Even respawns, which were more forgiving than permadeath, were still pretty brutal since, well, he came back naked. Old Apex was a lot more slow, methodical. It was like, you have to like take into account like not just your skill, but like your gear.
Yeah. How weak you are.
I don't know, like it slowed the game down. I kind of missed that. With loot being so scarce, we really had to cherish whatever gear we scraped together, which usually meant something like a triple take with hardly any attachments. Because good gear wasn't easily accessible, that also meant we had to take plenty of tactical retreats.
We may as well back up and use our ranged advantage.
Honestly, yeah, because I just realized I don't have choke. Nowadays, the game guarantees that the first loot bin you open does spawn a weapon. But back then,
Uploading this to Twitter, I cannot handle it. Like, what the fuck?
it was whatever the RNG gods wanted you to have, baby. So much so, in fact, that melee being much stronger actually made a lot of sense because it was, well, an actual viable strategy. Oh, no. Hilariously, we also remembered Respawn, in their initial vision for the game, thought to counteract some of this low loot by having hotspots around the map. You see, one of these more loot-dense concentrated areas was the dropship. A relic now, as oftentimes the loot found around on the POIs is much better. But back then, it was a cool little mechanic where there was basically a moving POI that carried a heap of loot.
Wait, I think we can jump here.
Dude.
Oh,
Wait, what? This is a spot?
we might need a jump pad.
You have a jump pad? Dude, no way, this is a spot. Oh my god, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Oh, thank god. The original way Apex was to be played, at least the way Respawn seemed to intend it, was a bit slower than the Apex of today. And Boom and I tried to replicate that as much as possible. We'd drop somewhere slightly less crowded, take our sweet time looting every drawer and dusty corner, and push in once we gather enough gear to feel like we weren't about to get instantly vaporized.
Miss.
We're pretty stacked now. Like
You're
having
losing
purple armor
the
means
number,
so
yeah.
much now. I can reliably go into a fight being like, oh yeah, we're stacked, which is kind of something I miss.
like 1v1, you like have
a
such
huge
an
advantage. The good thing though, or maybe a bad thing depending on how you look at it, was that there were certain guns that required very little setup to be amazing. There were a ton of OP guns back then, but the ones that stood out to me was the Wingman and the Peacekeeper. Shifting to a slower paced OG Apex playstyle, I took a bit more time to experiment with my loot, and I was reminded of how you could attach some really wonky attachments to certain guns. And of course, I couldn't resist testing them out. Dude, 3x and R9? God, it looks weird. No, even with my iron, it makes my iron sights look weird.
Wow, the 301 is no recoil. Right behind us.
Oh my god.
Take the zip.
Dude, 3x and the R99? Goated. Oh, and it also worked on the Prowler, which was actually disturbingly easy to control and really accurate. Oh my god.
All right, I'm kidded to the gills.
People used to
Mean.
say that in Apex. Yo, I'm kidding. You're not really kidding anymore. in
Yeah, you
regular
don't say
Apex.
kid anymore because you are perpetually kidded.
You're
You're
always
always kidded. You were born and then you are kidded.
I think Apex over the years had done a really good job at making gear really accessible and easier to obtain. Between legend abilities like Loba sticks to crafters to loot bin resets to even just a general loot pool being optimized. That being said, we are playing Apex the old-fashioned way, as it was intended all those years ago. And one of the best ways to get loot was through Lifeline's Ultimate. An otherwise outdated ability by today's standards, it actually made a lot of sense back then. Boom and I did the old-fashioned strategy of pumping ult accelerants to get more loot. Well, I think it would have been hilarious if SMGs retained the ability to take mid-range scopes. Something I really missed about OG Apex was the sniper scopes on the G7. This thing was a menace back in the day. And come on, they could have totally let the G7 keep sniper scopes. They don't make G7s like this anymore.
How fast can I shoot?
Is this got a gold barrel on it? And it has a 4x10.
That's crazy.
And it shoots stupidly fast. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my. Oh my god. Speaking of busted weapons though, I've already mentioned them before, but the Wingman and PK, and Mastiff for that matter, were the kings of this era. Being faithful to the experiment, I dipped my toes into using those guns for science, of course, and I'm definitely not the best shot with the Wingman by any means, but I can see why Respawn went back and nerfed this gun many times over.
Yeah, where it blinks the color of your shield.
Oh, so good. So good. Even the PK was hitting for numbers far beyond my own recollection. I mean, in this clip, hit a Bangalore for 140 damage. 140? Did I do 140? Did I do 140?
Oh my god.
Was that real? And don't even get me started on the POIs. There are a couple of areas that just seemed a bit nonsensical to me, but I absolutely missed. Since we were taking the game slower, true to the OG style, we explored the gas station. Does anyone remember this spot? They don't make POIs like this anymore, by the way.
No, like.
What is it about it? It just feels different. This is
Okay,
cool.
I think this is what, like, the feeling you're having. The implication is that this is a gas station.
Dear God.
There's more.
No.
The top is the bottom of a highway asset, and these are propanes for the side of a building. Like,
But it looks cool. It's
this
like
isn't the gas station. This is like someone in Gary's mod making a gas
To
station.
Boom's point, yes, there were a number of assets from Timefall 2 reused for Kings Canyon. But even that point aside, it's just such a cool POI placed in such a weird spot, and I really can't put my finger on why I love this so much. Is it nostalgia, or does it have a certain janky yet recognizable charm about it? Either way, it was really cool seeing how much of Titanfall made it to the original Apex map. This game, as it was originally designed, was more of a true battle royale where loot was harder to find, things killed you faster, there were perceived stakes to dying, and so people slowed their gameplay down. Honestly, I missed that time when people cared about their life in the game. I will say I do enjoy having more stakes to my life. So whatever that means, like, does that mean no respawns? Does that mean it's hard
That's why
to
I'm
loot?
excited
Does it
for
mean
loot extraction.
Loot extraction?
I
Yeah, I want to have more stakes. So it doesn't have to be no respawns, but it could be some other version.
You can't have a 20-minute downtime on like a person playing your game.
Naturally, people got better and better at the game, and therefore their playstyle became more and more aggressive. To adjust, Apex has been designed to be more fast-paced. Loot is much more consistent, and dying is still impactful, but there are way more opportunities for faster revives and respawns. Also, a lot of the RNG elements have been smoothed over. And listen, this isn't really a complaint, but more of an observation. Because to be honest, modern Apex is really good. The weapons and HP are balanced to be a longer time to kill, as much as I prefer to be shorter. The new legends and guns are all great, and the new maps, balanced decisions, and mechanics have been amazing for the game. However, as Boom and I closed out our win in the original Apex, I couldn't help but think that, despite its massive flaws, there's still a bit of that OG charm that will always be unique to the Apex Legends from 2019.